Okay, so then we will go ahead and demonstrate how to set up a form. And the forms can be used to basically gather any information that isn't collected during the registration process that you want. The most common use is generally going to be something like collecting dietary restrictions information, but you can use it to gather any other type of information that you want. So the way that you would set up a form then, you're going to find your forms object, and if you don't see it across the top already, then you can click your plus sign to drill into the full list of the objects that you have access to. And so here's our forms list. And then you'll just go ahead and click new to start creating your form. And the first step is just to name your form. So we'll call this test form. And you want to make sure that you select your business group. Some of these are fields that once you save this, if you have, since your preferences should be set to link to that business group or the currency, then it should change those for you once you save, or you can go ahead and manually select them there. So this is just basically saving the form kind of bucket that you can then start setting up your information in. So once you've done that first step, then you're going to go into Form Builder by clicking that button there. Looks like I've got a pop-up blocker on of some kind. Oh, there we go. And the first thing that you do is create a field group. And essentially what a field group is really just a way to kind of subdivide your form if you're asking about more than one type of thing. If you have a pretty straightforward short form, then you may not need more than just one simple group. So we're going to use the dietary restrictions as an example. So we'll put that in there as our field group name, and that's really all you have to do here. You can do more complicated things with these forms, but generally most societies are really just looking to sort of gather some information, some basic details. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Once you've got your group set up, then you can see that you now have the option to start adding fields to the group itself. So we're going to say that we want to have a new field. And here, these are the different types of questions that you can ask. So do you want it to be a checkbox? Do you want it to request a date? Do you want it to, do you want someone to provide an email? Do you want a pick list or a multi-pick list where basically you give them, sort of multiple choice, and you can set it so that they can either pick one out of the options or they can pick multiple options. So we're going to say that we want to have a pick list here. Do you want the individual filling out the form to be required to answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
We'll say yes. So we've got our question, do you have any dietary restrictions? And then here is where you're going to, if you want some sort of explanation that would pop up if someone kind of hovered over that, then you can fill that information in here. And then down here under the pick list values, this is where you're going to put the, basically put the options that someone has to choose from. So we're going to say no restrictions is one option, then we're going to say vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, whatever options you want to offer.
Mm-hmm.
You could also do this, of course, if you wanted to have kind of a free form text, you could, but then you might end up with somebody, who had a very detailed restriction that they wanted you to meet for them. So this gives them some defined options. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then you could obviously go ahead and add as many more as you wanted to add here. You also, with the forms, you also have what's called skip logic. So again, depending on how complicated you want to get with your forms, you can do something like, depending on the answer that someone gives to this question, you know, that like we could have set this up to where, you know, do you have any dietary restrictions? Yes or no. If they said yes, then it would take them on to a next second question where it asked them about the specific types of restrictions. Whereas if they said no, then it would just end the form. So you do have that option there. You would basically have to set up your questions ahead of time first, and then go in to define the skip logic that so that it would know where to send people based on the different responses that they gave. So,
Okay.
but again, not usually something that societies are using for the most part. So, so then at this point, you can go ahead and preview what your form is going to look like if you want. Okay, today. There we go. So again, pretty basic, pretty straightforward. So you can see what that looks like. Once you're happy with the way that it looks, we're going to exit out of the form builder. And then what you would do once you've got that form created, you can basically reuse that form. You know, if for a lot of your events you're going to be asking similar questions each time, you can reuse that form each time. So what you would do, let's see if we can find, since we're in our training environment, let's see what we can find as far as any events that we've actually got in here. Because what you're going to do is you're going to basically attach that form to the ticket type that the ticket types for an event where you want to ask those questions. So let's see if we can find an event that's in here. So you would go into your event that you've set up. Go into the event builder mode. Go into your ticket types.
Ticket types.
And
okay.
then go into the ticket type itself. And you can see that there's a tab here that says attach form. So here you would just start typing the name of your form, and it would find it for you, and then you could save it from there.
Okay, I don't know what I was doing wrong. Okay.
Well, I know that when I was first learning about these, the group thing always threw me off. So, or the form grouping thing. So it could be that was throwing you off too. And one thing I'll point out too, that we have uncovered a bug that's being looked at where basically the bug indicates that anytime you have an event where you're using a form, you want to make sure that you use that form on all of the ticket types. Because like I said, there's a bug that's being looked at where if you have the form attached to one ticket type but not other ticket types, or if you have basically one ticket where you're attaching a form and not attaching a form to another ticket type, it can cause some problems there if someone is trying to purchase multiple ticket types, multiple tickets with different form options there. So,
okay, that makes
so your best
sense.
bet is going to be to attach the form to any of the tickets that are on a particular event. So,
And then
so that is that.
The other question I have is the label we gave that form, the test form 29 November. Does the user ever see that label?
I don't believe so, but let's test it and see. Make sure this is active. Yep. Since I did not follow my own rules. under F. Always the trick with using never exactly. Oh, if you've got everything set up correctly. Let's see. I wonder if we're missing the inventory. Yep. Now, hopefully that will, there we go. Okay. And it looked like it was the Eller College ticket. So let's see. Oh, mm, Here we go. Again, you're never sure with these test events, you're never sure what someone created them in order to test. So you're never sure what's going to be visible or not.
Sure. Okay.
There we go. All right. Okay. So yeah, all we're seeing is the just the basically that group title, not the name of the form itself. So
okay,
that makes it easy. You can kind of use whatever you need to for the actual name of the form without worrying about it being visible. So
got it. Okay, all right, that helps a lot.
sure.
And then last question, just to kind of tie loose ends together, on reporting.
Yes.
What how much information, how much individual information can we have on that report? I need some remedial training in reporting, obviously. So, because it seems like whenever I try and take a report and edit it or start one from scratch, I can't get to all of the fields that I need to get to.
And I don't know if we have our no, we do here. So one of the reports that we will generally provide for societies, although since you came on so early, you may have it may not be one that we have on there for you, so we can certainly add it if you want.
Okay.
But we basically have this form responses report, which is designed to basically pull that information that's provided on any of those forms. So this would be a good starting point. Basically, it's going to, in fact, let me see if I can find, if I go into the live environment, I'll see if I can find a report that actually has some live data in it.
And in the meantime, I will go in and see if I have that. You looked under my personal custom reports, but it should be under Minnesota.
Yeah, in fact, let's take a look while we're in here. Yeah, well, let's see, unless we've got it. Yeah, I do not see it there for you. So we'll just use that right now. Yeah, I have all of the kind of draft versions of the reports here, so that we can share them out to society. So we'll
Yeah,
add
that
this
would
one
be
for you.
that would be helpful because I know we're pulling two different reports to create name badges and rosters and stuff. So that would be lovely.
Okay, so that should be in your folder now, and let's see what we actually get here.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, so it looks like it's, here's the ones that actually have the responses on there.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is kind of the default version, but if there's information that you're not seeing here, or if you want to just add more fields, we can certainly help you take a look and make any changes you want there for your particular version of this report.
Okay.
All right. Anything else about forms?
Just as I'm looking at the screen right now, this China Innovation event.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing the individual name repeated twice. One is obviously hyperlinked. Company name. So, okay, and I see two entries for Robert Oberles and two for Alan Tomitz. So it's repeating the entry whenever they've added the dietary restrictions.
Yeah, because it's essentially giving you, this version is essentially giving you a separate line item for each question.
Okay.
So if that's something where you would want us to help you kind of reorganize it or reconfigure it in some way, then we could certainly take a look at doing that.
Okay. Yeah, because ultimately what Nirvana would be one spreadsheet, separate columns, single name, and everything about that individual on that same row. So I don't know how difficult that is to do.
Okay. Yeah, we can, I'll take that back and do some investigation and see. I would think that should be something that we should be able to do without too much trouble. So we can definitely take a look.
That would be great because then we can create one spreadsheet that drives name tags, that has the attendance check-in, all of that kind of stuff, and not have to worry about dupes.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
I like this office hours thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like some of us went to the Salesforce Dreamforce conference, and that was one thing that a lot of people talked about that they had done, just because it gives you the flexibility to basically take whatever questions people have.
So here's taking this now to the next level. I know we've had some conversations by email, a group of us talking about capturing some additional taxonomy information for our members as a temporary measure before the full CRM stuff gets rolled out. So my thought was, if to satisfy our membership and programs committees, if they really want to start collecting this information now, my thought was to create a temporary event, if you will, and set up a form to collect that information until the CRM piece is rolled out. I just didn't.
Yeah.
Where am I going with this? Yeah, that was one of the things I was testing the other day, and running into some issues, especially reporting. So I don't know what you think about that solution, but that might be a way for our program and membership committees to be satisfied temporarily.
Yeah. Yeah, it would definitely be an option. It was kind of a way to sort of gather that information. You could always do something as simple as sort of a questionnaire, and send it out that way. But obviously, this is going to gather that information so that you'll have it in a format that's more attached to their record. So.
Correct. That's exactly where we want to put it. Because we talked about setting up a fillable PDF and all of that stuff, and it just eventually we're going to have to grab the data and figure out a way to load it into the system. So why not start from that point? Yeah. Cool.
Exactly. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, this was very helpful. Thank you, and thank you for adding the forms feature to our folder. So, okay, Tally, your turn. What's driving you crazy?
Sorry?
Your turn. Megan just solved all my problems in the world.
Yeah. So, Megan, I admit that I haven't been playing around with MemberNation as much as I should be. Things have just been really busy these last few months. And the learning process is a bit longer than I'm used to. I'm used to the way that we work now. So although we have been onboarded and we're ready to use, for example, the email marketing, I logged in and I tried to use it, and I ran into a few issues, probably because I had never played around with it properly. But so yeah, I admit that I probably haven't been using it as much as I should. But I do plan on getting into that before the year end. But just a quick thing that comes to mind that I remember that I was trying to do, and we've probably already covered this, and it's probably somewhere where I haven't searched yet. But if you could just quickly help me out, for example, to get a button done for a call to action, for example, to in our e-newsletter, to get someone to register for an event, so like a button. Is there a way to add a button, or would I have to do a picture and put a link on the picture?
So specifically with an email marketing?
Yes.
There is with if you, whoops, that's not going to, I don't think that one's going to work. This one. And if you have not seen, if when you were kind of exploring around in there, you have not seen the newest stuff that's available in what's called Content Builder within Marketing Cloud, then this is actually a really good opportunity to show you what's available now. Because before we were only able to use kind of the classic version, which was much more unwieldy, I would say. You had to kind of finagle things a bit more. But with this new version, with this Content Builder option that's available, it offers a lot more flexibility, and it's a lot cleaner looking, and the buttons and things like that are much easier to work with. So this is actually a good thing to be able to show you. So once you get into Marketing Cloud, you can see that up here you have Content Builder or Classic Content. So you'll want to switch over to Content Builder if you're not already using that. And
yeah, I was using Classic Content, and I started a few templates. Am I able to pull those into the Content Builder, or would I have to restart?
I'm not sure if
No worries. I can restart. There's not too much that I've done, so it wouldn't be a hassle to restart. So that's not an issue if you don't know. Hello? Hello?
Yes. Are you able to hear me?
Now
Oh,
we
now
can.
I am.
Okay. Yeah, I think it keeps blinking in and out. All right, so do you want your, let's see, I don't know for sure what folder structure you had. Do you want to bring over any folders that you had, or do you just want to bring over the content that was within the folders?
I don't think I created any folders.
Okay, then we'll just do the content only. Oops. We'll just select everything that's here, and then it'll should bring over anything that you had there. And I think sometimes it takes a little bit of time to finish loading over, but it should bring over anything that you had there. If it doesn't, we'll take a look and we can probably move it over manually for you if we need to.
All right.
Oh, here we go. Looks like some of these are things that, some of these are things that either we had built for you or that had been available, but then it looks like your some of your content is here as well. So,
all right.
But then to actually start, if you wanted to create something from scratch within the content builder, you can. The thing that's handy is that the system itself has a lot more templates that you can kind of choose from now. So you don't necessarily have to create templates yourself unless you just really want to create a very specific template to use. But if we say that we want to create an email, you want to choose what you want to create your email based upon. So if you have an existing email that you want to use as your starting point, as kind of duplicate that and then move on from there, you can use that. Or you can say that you want to choose a template. And my layout's going to look a little bit different just because of my access. But if you go into the saved area here and you go to the folders, you can see that you can either look at what's local or specific just to you, or you can go into this shared area. And you can see that there are blank templates that you can basically use as your starting point. So these are all of the templates that are available automatically from Marketing Cloud. And they're essentially, different layouts, different configurations that, again, you can kind of use to begin with. So you can essentially go in and select whichever layout looks like what you would like for your email, and you can select that. Once you've checked the box, click select down here, and then it's going to have you define the properties of this specific email. So you can put in your name for your email so that you can find it again. You can see that it's sharing it just with your business unit, just with you, or just with the society, basically. So then we're going to go ahead to the next step. And this is where you can start adding your content. So again, you can see that these layouts automatically add a lot of these different options. So it makes it a lot easier to work with than the old version where you had to, like you said,
much
create
easier.
an image and paste it in there. So yeah, we were very excited when they finally made this so that we can use it with our configuration. So, and depending on what type of a block you're looking at, will determine what different types of options you have over here once you click on it. So you can see that this is basically an image block. When I've clicked on it, it's going to let me select to replace that image. So if I click browse, if you have an image that you want to use, and what we've tried to do is bring over logos for society. So if one of your logos is not here, and I'm not seeing it right off the top of my looking here, unless maybe it's in here. Nope. So we can always help you drag those over, or it's pretty easy with this version now to upload those, to upload basically any sort of image or logo or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward now to load those up there. I'm still not sure why it's not why I'm not seeing it there, but we're going to pretend that that we're working with Korea just so that you can see how you can work with this. Once you have uploaded an image, you can see that you can change the dimensions of that image. So if this is a little too large, which it is, you can kind of adjust that. Doesn't really look like it did too much to change it, but you can have alternate text so that if someone's configuration doesn't allow them to receive images, then this text would be available instead. You can also do things like adding borders, adding sort of padding around an image. And then you can easily add a link now as well. So if you want someone to be able to click on this image and be taken to your website, you can just click the add button and put the URL that you want someone to be taken to here.
Perfect. And I can save these blocks as template blocks as well?
Exactly. So if you had a block that you wanted to be able to reuse, you have this save block option over here, and you could just click create new and give it a name. And then you can see that it's going to save it into that the sort of content builder folder where all of your content is housed. So then you can reuse that going forward. So then similarly with this block here, you can see that this particular block has both text and buttons and things like that. So for anything that has text, when you click on there, that's going to let you edit your text here. You have all of the different options for modifying the font and the size and the color and all of that sort of thing. So you can add hyperlinks to within the text and things like that. You also have some personalization options, although we're trying to figure out, because again, right now it's designed so that you should be able to add all of these different types of custom or sort of personalized fields to your message so that it would say, dear, John Smith or whatever, within the body of the email. For some reason, the permission sets need to be adjusted so that everyone has access to add these fields. Right now, for some reason, only I have access to, which is not helpful. So we're working with our IT team on that right now. But then here with the button, you can see that this button obviously is designed to be embedded here, make it really easy to work with. So here you could change your button text so that it said register now. You can adjust the parameters of the button itself, the font. You could change the size of the font, the color. You can change the alignment. You can also you can sort of make this a more rounded button if you want, although I have seen that depending on what browser someone is using to receive that email will possibly determine how that button actually looks when they receive it. So it seems to come through as a more rounded button like you've designed in Chrome, but not necessarily in Outlook. So again, we're looking at if that's something that societies want to be able to use. I think you can change the coding behind it, but that's obviously not an ideal solution. So, but then here is where you would input the URL that you want someone to reach by clicking that button. So this is where you would paste basically your registration URL that you would grab from your event. Let's see, what else have we got? Again, this is an image, and then another kind of handy block that's sort of designed here to be easy to use is this social follow option. So if you click this, you can see that it's already set up to have the logos and the URLs for various social media platforms. So you can just embed your URLs for whichever platforms you use currently. If one of these is not one that the society uses, you can just delete it, and then you can add several different options. So we've got LinkedIn, we've got, what else have we got in here? Google Plus, it looks like. We've got Pinterest, YouTube, and we've got Snapchat. So whatever options the society uses can be added there. And then this is another thing where once you've got this looking the way you'd like, you can always save this block so that you can easily import that later. So once you've got, basically once you've got all of that kind of configured, you can, I'm trying to think, there was something I was wanting to make sure that I talked about as well. So you can easily, so you can also, this is obviously the set configuration for this particular layout that you've selected. But if you suddenly decide that you want to add something else, then you can do that as well. So you can see that if you haven't selected any specific block, you have the option to add blocks yourself. So if you decide you want another button up here at the top, you could always add this in here. You can add free-form text blocks. You can add an HTML component. So if you have some code that you want to use to embed like a video or something like that, or just an image. And down here, you've got those social follows. So if you wanted them to be in a different location, you could move them there. Or you can just drag and drop things as well. So if you decide you want your social media, if I can get it to cooperate with me. Come on. I can move it up farther here. Here we go. If you decide you want your social media farther up on the page, it's supposed to move up there. There we go. So anyway, it's a little bit finicky sometimes, but you can drag and drop and get it to where you want it to be. If there's a block that you don't want to use, for example, you can always delete that block. So then you can basically get it set up the way you'd like. You can see up here, you can add your subject line if you want to at this point. You'll always have the option to add the subject line when you're ready to actually send the message itself. But what this subject line area here will allow you to do, again, once we get the permissions ironed out, you can actually insert some of those personal attributes within the subject line itself. So you could have kind of a call to action there that said, John, register for our event today or something like that. So again, that option is only available from here. Once you've got all of that set up, you have the option to do a quick send test here. If you click the button down here, then it's going to pull in your name automatically, and then you can also add any others as well. So you can, again, do a quick test of your message and see what it looks like when it comes through directly from here. And then once you are ready, if we save this, then once you're ready to actually send the message, if you go back to the main kind of Member Nation or Salesforce interface, and you go into your Marketing Cloud area, this is where you would actually do your regular sends from to actually send it out to your your candidates or your members. So here, you always want to make sure that you've selected society first. Apparently I don't have permission to send from this. So, but then you would go through and you would look through your content builder. You would be able to find, looks like I'm still logged into some other, might be logged into my main account here. But anyway, you would be able to find your email that you had created here. Again, this is where you could adjust the subject line if you needed to. And then you would pull up a report, and the reporting is what's used as your data source. So, and again, we've got those kind of standardized reports that are available for societies, or if there's a particular group that you want help gathering a report to pull a particular subset of your contacts, we can help you pull that as well. But here you can, you'd be able to scroll through and find a specific report to use as your data source there. And once you had done that, make me pick something. I also have a report in here that has just my own record on it, so that I can do a test through this system as well as through the other kind of quick test test send option as well. Here you would choose your send classification, and again, if we were logged in correctly here, you'd be able to see whatever we had set up for you, whatever you'd requested as your sending email addresses. You'd be able to select those there. You have the option to either send your message right away, or if you want to schedule it to send out at a particular date and time in the future, you can do that as well. And then the last thing you would check here is to certify that everybody has opted in. With those reports, the ones that we provide for societies automatically, there are several other reports there that have a standard version, and then they also have a version of that report that has EM in front of it for email. And that EM version is going to pull out anybody who has said not to contact them by email. So I always want to use one of those EM versions of the report just to make sure that you're heeding those requests not to receive email communication. So, but anyway, once you've done that, then you would go ahead and click the send button, and it would be on its way. And then you can also see a lot of information once those messages go out. If we can find one that has some data on it. So this is this is an example of an email that did go out. You can see you've got some of the details about the email itself, when it was sent, what reports were used as the data source, and then down below you've got all of your sort of analytics on that message that went out. You can see again when it was sent, how many people it was sent to. You've got a 100% delivery rate for this. If you had any bounces, you'd be able to tell how many and whether they were a hard bounce or kind of a final bounce or a soft bounce, which might be something like a mailbox is full or something like that. You can also then see activity, so how many people opened that email and how many times it was opened total. If there were any links within that message, you could see how many times those links were clicked. And as you scroll down, you can see the specifics of each individual that received it. So you can see for all of your recipients, when the message was sent to them, did they open it? If so, what date? If it bounced, you'd be able to see when. And then down below, you can see that more details about the actual links. So if there was more than one link within your message, you can see for each of those links how many times they were clicked. by how many unique individuals. So if someone is, you can see that in some cases you've got individuals clicking the emails more than one, or the links more than once. So here we had 2 individuals click the links, but it was clicked 3 times total. So obviously one person clicked the link twice there. So so anyway, does that help, Tally?
Yes. Oh, that was a great review. Thank you. And I
Sure.
think once I start using the content builder, it'll make my life much easier.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into it now.
Yeah, like I said, we because the content builder itself was available, but the way that we have ours configured, where you're sending it from this area, but building it within the content or within the Marketing Cloud area itself, that particular configuration didn't allow for the content builder for a while there. So so we were pretty excited when we finally knew that it was going to be something that was available. So
Yeah, and that actually helped me too.
oh, good.
Because I used the Marketing Cloud for our bylaws campaign, but before Content Builder was available. So it was a bit of a struggle. We got through it okay. I love the email sent feature. That was awesome. But now
Yeah.
I have a question for you. I was kind of tracking along in our version of Member Nation, and I'm in Content Builder now, editing an email, and I don't have any content. I don't see where I can get to our logos or any of the other things that I have uploaded into the system.
Okay. So it's possible. Let me see.
And the other weird thing is every time I come into Marketing Cloud, it automatically defaults me to CFA Institute, and I have to switch over to Minnesota.
Yeah, and that unfortunately we're kind of stuck with, just because of the way that we have it configured, where we have to have CFA Institute there as a sort of parent organization, just because staff and then certain society people have access to multiple societies. It has to be configured that way. So
okay, that's what I figured.
Part,
yeah, that's
we're
what
sort
I
of
figured.
Stuck with, but
okay.
But yes, you should be able to see your content there. So this is the classic. And that's shared.
Yeah, and that's the email I just started playing around with a few minutes ago.
Okay. So
yeah, but I'm not.
Whoops.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any logos or anything like that.
Okay. And there. Okay, so it looks like they are here in the classic content. So let's see if we can import yours over as well.
Okay.
And for yours, do you have did you have folders that you were using, or do you want just the content itself?
I did set up some folders. I think that would be lovely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Everything.
Sorry, I must have been playing on another screen when you were showing this to Tally.
Well, and like I said, I think that the import button is not something that's available to everybody. So,
okay.
So it's in process, and I think it says, yep, that I can close this. So hopefully those will start showing up in there. If for some reason they don't, let me know, and we can make sure that we get those over for you.
Okay.
All right. Anything else I can answer for either of you today?
I think from my side, that's great. That's everything.
Cool. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I think I'm in good shape too. I have to force myself to get back into it because I did, like I said, it was email send feature was pretty doggone slick
Yeah,
when I was using it, and now that the content builder's active, that should make it completely awesome.
great.
And it has imported. I now see everything. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, yay. All right. Well, thanks to both of you for this. And did you find this helpful? You think this is something that we want to this sort of office hours make available kind of on a regular basis going forward?
I think so. Go ahead, Telly.
No, please.
I was going to say, I think it is very valuable, but I think we just proved to you that one question can turn into a 30-minute answer. So think about how you
Yes, how to
market
structure.
that going forward. Yeah. So
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good point, and it's good that there were just a limited number of us, so we could answer your questions more fully than we might have been able to otherwise. So
yeah, good.
cool.
Okay. But yeah, this was very helpful.
All right. Well, thanks to both of you, and we'll talk again before too long, I'm sure.
Thanks for your support, Megan.
Yeah.
No
Thanks
problem.
a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.